She was pregnant with the Billionaire'S twins, and he chose her heart over his EMPI. Maria stood in the marble lobby of Brown Global Enterprises, her hand trembling against her still flat stomach. In 60 seconds, she'd walk into that boardroom and tell Corey Brown, billionaire, her former boss, the man who'd broken her heart 3 months ago, that she was carrying his twins. But the woman on his arm in those tabloid photos yesterday wasn't just anyone. She was Vanessa Kilpatrick, the shareholder's daughter, the merger his entire empire depended on. Maria's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Tell him about the babies, and I'll make sure you lose everything. She looked up at the building that stretched into the Charleston sky. Somewhere up there, Corey was about to choose between the company that bore his name and a love he didn't even know still existed. What would you do? But hey, if you're new here, welcome to the family. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, shout out your city, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. And to my returning viewers? You absolute legends. Thank you for being here. Trust me, you're going to want to stay until the very end of this one. This story is about to get wild. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. The thing about working for a billionaire is that you learn to read silences. Maria had mastered every type of quiet in Corey Brown's world, the focused silence when he was closing a deal, the dangerous silence before he demolished a competitor's argument, the exhausted silence at midnight when they were the last 2 people in the office. But she'd never experienced this silence. The one that came after she'd kissed him. Maria. Her name left his lips like a prayer and a curse combined. We can't. She stepped back from him, her heart hammering so hard she could hear it in her ears. They were in his penthouse office, the Charleston city lights sprawling beneath them like scattered diamonds. It was 2 a.m. on a Friday, and they just finalized the Westbrook acquisition. 3 months of 18-hour days, strategy sessions that bled into dawn, moments where his hand would brush hers over contract pages and linger just a second too long. Right. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Of course. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. That was unprofessional. Don't. He moved toward her, then stopped himself. Don't call me that. Not after. He dragged a hand through his dark hair, and she noticed it was shaking. Corey Brown never shook. You've been calling me Corey for 6 months now. 6 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days, actually. But who was counting? You should go home, he said quietly, turning toward the window. Away from her. It's late. Maria grabbed her bag, her cheeks burning. I'll see you Monday. Maria. She stopped at the door. That can't happen again. She didn't trust herself to speak, so she just nodded and left. She didn't see the way he pressed his forehead against the glass after she'd gone, or the way his fist clenched against the window, or the way he whispered her name into the empty room. Have you ever worked with someone you couldn't have? Drop a broken heart in the comments if you know that feeling. Maria's best friend Simone was waiting on her doorstep with coffee and pastries, which meant one thing. She'd seen Maria's Instagram story. The one Maria had posted at 1 a.m. from the office, the one that was just a photo of the Charleston skyline with the caption, "Worth it." Spill, Simone demanded, pushing past her into the apartment. And don't you dare say it's about the Westbrook deal, because I know that look. That's the, I just made a horrible mistake with a man I can't have, look. I kissed him. The words tumbled out as Maria collapsed onto her couch. I kissed Corey, and he said it can't happen again, and oh my God, Simone, I have to quit. I have to find a new job. How am I supposed to face him on Monday? Simone set down the coffee with exaggerated care. Hold up. You kissed him. Not the other way around. What does that matter? Sis. Simone fixed her with a look. It matters because if he kissed you, he's just another rich man playing games. But if you kissed him, and he said no, that man is fighting something. Fighting himself. Maria pulled a throw pillow against her chest. He's my boss, Simone. A billionaire. I'm his executive assistant. This is literally the plot of every bad romance novel, except in real life, the assistant gets fired and blacklisted. Or, Simone countered, stealing a pastry. In real life, The billionaire is actually in love with her and too scared to admit it because it would mean admitting he's human. You've been watching too many rom-coms. And you've been lying to yourself for 6 months. Maria's phone buzzed. A text from Corey. Monday meeting moved to 7 a.m. Westbrook wants to finalize terms. Need you there. Just business. Nothing personal. As if she hadn't tasted his lips 12 hours ago, hadn't felt the way his breath caught when she'd touched his face, hadn't seen the want in his eyes before he'd pulled away. I'm going to take a shower, Maria announced, standing up. A very long, very hot shower where I can pretend I didn't just torpedo my entire career. But in the shower, with the water streaming over her face, she let herself cry. Because Simone was wrong. Men like Corey Brown didn't fall in love with women like her. They married shareholders' daughters and society princesses, women whose names opened doors instead of just answering phones. What she didn't know was that across the city, in his penthouse, Corey was standing in his own shower, both hands pressed against the tile, trying to convince himself that turning Maria away had been the right thing to do. It hadn't been. Maria arrived at the office 15 minutes early, wearing her most professional navy suit and carrying an extra-large coffee. Armor. She needed armor. But when she walked into the conference room, Corey wasn't alone. Maria. Richard Westbrook, their new partner, stood and extended his hand. Corey's been singing your praises. Says you're the secret weapon behind this whole deal. She shook his hand, avoiding Corey's eyes. Just doing my job, Mr. Westbrook. She's being modest, Corey said, his voice carefully neutral. Maria structured the entire financing package. Without her, this deal would have collapsed in week 2. Their eyes met for half a second. Something passed between them, an apology, maybe, or a wish that things were different. But then he looked away, and the moment shattered. The meeting lasted 3 hours. Maria took notes, fielded questions, and presented projections without missing a beat. She was professional. Perfect. Untouchable. It was only when everyone left and she was packing up her laptop that Corey finally spoke to her directly. About Friday night. It never happened, she cut him off. We were celebrating. I got caught up. It won't happen again, Mr. Brown. I asked you not to call me that. And I'm asking you to let me keep this job, she said quietly. Please. His jaw clenched. Your job was never in question. Wasn't it? Maria. I should get these notes typed up. She headed for the door, then paused. For what it's worth. I'm sorry I put you in that position. It was unfair. She left before he could respond, before she could see the way his carefully constructed walls cracked just a little. Would you have stayed and talked it out, or left like Maria did? Let me know what you would have done. Working with Corey after the kiss was like walking through a minefield blindfolded. Every meeting was professional. Every email was formal. Every moment of accidental contact, reaching for the same file, brushing past each other in the hallway, was followed by a careful, deliberate distance. Maria told herself she was fine with it. She threw herself into work, staying late, arriving early, proving she was more than her feelings. Proving she deserved to be there. You're going to burn out, warned Marcus Chen from accounting during lunch. Even Brown doesn't work the hours you've been pulling. I'm fine, Maria insisted, not looking up from her laptop. You're avoiding something. Or someone. She finally met his eyes. Stay in your lane, Marcus. He held up his hands. Just saying. Whatever happened between you two? Nothing happened. Right. And I'm not gay. He stole a French fry from her plate. Look, everyone in this building can feel the tension. You two used to be like this perfectly oiled machine, finishing each other's sentences and reading each other's minds. Now you can barely be in the same room without looking like you want to crawl out of your skin. Your point. My point is that whatever this is, it's affecting the whole office. And also, life's too short to avoid the people who make you feel something. Before Maria could respond, her phone rang. Corey's assistant line. Maria, I need you in my office. Now. The call disconnected, Marcus raised his eyebrows. Trouble in paradise. There is no paradise, Maria muttered, grabbing her things. There's just work. But when she walked into Corey's office, he wasn't sitting at his desk. He was standing at the window, his back to her, his shoulders rigid. Close the door. She did, her heart rate picking up. What's wrong? Do you trust me? The question caught her off guard. What? He turned around, and she saw something in his face she'd never seen before. Fear. I need to know if you trust me, Maria. Because what I'm about to tell you. He stopped, started again. The Westbrook deal. There's a problem. Her stomach dropped. What kind of problem? The kind that could destroy everything my father built. The kind that could take down this entire company. He moved toward her, stopping just close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes. And I need your help. But if you help me with this, if you go down this road with me, there's no coming back from it. Your career, your reputation, everything could be at risk. Tell me what's happening. Richard Westbrook is laundering money through our new partnership. Millions of dollars. And he's structured it so that if it comes out, all the liability falls on us. On Brown Global. On my family's name. Maria felt the room tilt. How long have you known? 3 days. I've been trying to figure out how to handle it without. He stopped, his voice dropping. Without dragging you into it. But I can't do this alone, Maria. I need someone I can trust absolutely. And that's you. It's always been you. The weight of what he was saying settled over her. This wasn't just business. This was Corey offering her the truth, offering her a choice, offering her, what? Partnership. Trust. Everything he'd been withholding since that kiss. What do you need me to do? Relief flooded his face. Help me build the case. Quietly. We'll need to document everything, trace every transaction, build an airtight record before we can take it to the authorities. That could take weeks. I know. We'll have to work together. Closely. I know that too. Their eyes met, and everything unsaid hung between them like smoke. Okay, Maria said finally. I'm in. Maria. But I have one condition. He waited. When this is over, when we've fixed this mess and saved your company, I need you to tell me the truth. About why you really pushed me away that night. His throat worked. What if you don't like the answer? Then at least I'll know. For a long moment, he just looked at her. Then, slowly, he nodded. Deal. Neither of them knew that this decision, this choice to trust each other, to work together, to stay in each other's orbit, would change everything. That in 3 weeks, after late nights and whispered conversations and moments where their hands would brush over evidence files and their eyes would meet and hold just a second too long, something would shift. That one night, exhausted and scared and high on the adrenaline of almost getting caught, they would cross a line they couldn't uncross. That one night would create 2 lives neither of them planned for. We've got him. Maria spread the documents across Corey's desk. 3 weeks of paper trails, offshore accounts, shell corporations. 3 weeks of 18-hour days, Chinese takeout at midnight, strategy sessions that ended with her falling asleep on his office couch while he worked through the night. 3 weeks of torture, being this close to him, feeling the pull between them grow stronger with every shared secret, every brush of fingers, every moment their eyes met across the desk. You're brilliant, Corey said, scanning the files. Maria, this is, God, this is everything we need. We can take it to the FBI tomorrow. They'll handle it from there. He looked up at her, and something in his expression made her breath catch. Do you know what you've done? You've saved this company. My family's legacy. Everything. We did it together. No. He stood, moving around the desk toward her. You did this. You could have walked away 3 weeks ago. Should have walked away. But you stayed, even though I gave you every reason not to. Her pulse hammered. They were close now, closer than they'd been since that kiss. Since he'd said we can't. Why did you stay? he asked softly. You know why. Say it. Corey, please. Say it. The words came out barely above a whisper. Because I couldn't leave you. Because even when you pushed me away, even when you made it clear there was nothing between us, I couldn't just. Her voice broke. I couldn't stop caring about you. His hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. I pushed you away because I was terrified. Because for 6 months I watched you walk into my office every morning and it was the best part of my day. Because you made me laugh during board meetings and challenged my ideas and saw me as more than just my last name and my bank account. And I knew that if I let myself have you, I'd never be able to let you go. Then don't, she breathed. Maria, don't let me go. This time, when they kissed, there was no hesitation. No pulling away. His hands were in her hair, her arms were around his neck, and it felt like coming home and catching fire all at once. Stay, he whispered against her lips. Tonight. Stay with me. She should have said no. Should have been smart, been careful, protected her heart. But she'd been careful her whole life. Yes. Have you ever made a choice that changed everything? Comment below. I want to hear your stories. Maria stared at the 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test, her hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped it. No. No. She took 3 more tests. All positive. Her phone buzzed with a text from Corey. Dinner tonight? My place. I want to talk about something. Her stomach twisted. She and Corey had been, what? Together? Dating. They hadn't labeled it, hadn't told anyone at work, had been keeping it quiet until the Westbrook case was fully resolved. The FBI had arrested Richard last week, and Brown Global was being hailed as a whistleblower hero. Corey had been fielding calls from major news outlets, positioning the company for its biggest expansion yet. And she was pregnant. With twins. The ultrasound that afternoon had confirmed it. 8 weeks along. Twins. The doctor had smiled when she'd said it, like it was good news. Maria had nearly passed out. We need to talk, she texted back to Corey. Can you come to my place instead? Everything okay? Please. Just come here. 3 hours later, when Corey arrived at her apartment, she'd worked herself into a state of complete panic. She'd rehearsed speeches, practiced different ways of saying it, even looked up statistics on how often relationships survived unplanned pregnancies. Maria. He took one look at her face and pulled her into his arms. What's wrong? Talk to me. Sit down. You're scaring me. Sit. Please. He sat on her couch, and she paced in front of him, trying to find words that wouldn't blow up both their lives. The Westbrook case is over, she started. Yeah. Which means we can stop hiding. Stop being secret. Stop. Is that what this is about? He stood, reaching for her hands. Because I was going to talk to you about that tonight. About going public. About making this official. Her heart cracked. Corey, I love you. The words came out rough, urgent. I'm in love with you, Maria. I have been for months. And I don't want to hide it anymore. I want everyone to know. I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air between them like a bomb about to detonate. He froze. What? I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. And it's... Her voice shook. It's twins. The silence that followed was deafening. She watched his face cycle through shock, disbelief, panic, calculation. Twins, he repeated finally. You're sure? I saw the ultrasound this afternoon. And there. He stopped, started again. They're mine. The question felt like a slap. Of course they're yours. Who else's would they be? I'm sorry, I didn't mean. He dragged both hands through his hair. I'm just trying to process this. You and me both. He paced to the window, his back to her. Maria's heart sank with every second of silence. Say something, she whispered. I need time to think. Time to think. Corey, I don't have time. I'm already 2 months along. I need to make decisions about everything. About my job, about my life, about whether you're keeping them. His voice was flat when he turned around. That's not what I was going to say. But it's an option. Right. Maria felt ice slide down her spine. I'm not having this conversation. We have to have this conversation. No. She shook her head. No, we don't. Because I already know what I'm doing. I'm keeping them. Both of them. Whether you're involved or not. Maria, you should go. We need to talk about this. No, you need to go. Now. Please. He stood there for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he grabbed his jacket and walked to the door. Call me when you're ready to have an actual conversation, he said quietly. The door closed behind him. Maria lasted exactly 15 seconds before she collapsed on the floor and sobbed. Corey's calls went unanswered. His texts accumulated, each one more desperate than the last. I'm sorry. Can we talk? I panicked. I said things I didn't mean. Please answer. I'm worried about you. Maria. Please. She went to work, but she took sick days whenever she knew he'd be in the office. She coordinated with his calendar, became a ghost in her own workplace. She couldn't look at him. Couldn't stand in that office where they'd fallen for each other, and not feel the weight of how badly this had all gone wrong. You have to talk to him eventually, Simone said over emergency ice cream on Thursday night. Why? So he can tell me again that I should consider my options? That these babies are inconvenient for his empire. He was scared, Maria. Men say stupid things when they're scared. I don't care if he was scared. I'm terrified, Simone. But I didn't ask him if he wanted me to get rid of our children. What are you going to do? Maria set down her spoon. I'm going to quit. Find a new job. Raise these babies on my own. I don't need him. But that night, alone in her apartment with her hand on her stomach, she let herself cry for the future she'd imagined. The one where Corey had smiled when she told him. Where he'd pulled her close and kissed her and told her they'd figure it out together. The one where he'd chosen her. Maria's resignation letter was printed, signed, and sitting in her bag when she walked into Brown Global that morning. She'd planned it perfectly. Corey was in New York for meetings. She'd leave the letter on his desk, clear out her office, and be gone before he got back. Clean break. But when she stepped off the elevator, the entire office was in chaos. Have you seen the news? Marcus rushed up to her, his phone thrust in her face. The headline made her stomach drop. Brown Global CEO Tio announce engagement to Vanessa Kilpatrick, merger of Century Expliciti de Maria's vision tunneled. There was Corey, in a photo from some charity gala, with his arm around a stunning blonde woman. Vanessa Kilpatrick. Daughter of James Kilpatrick, majority shareholder in Kilpatrick Industries. The article gushed about the perfect match, two business dynasties joining forces, a love story years in the making, an announcement expected any day. Maria. Marcus's voice seemed to come from very far away. Are you okay? She wasn't okay. She was drowning. Because Corey hadn't just rejected her and their babies. He'd moved on. He'd chosen his empire over her. Just like she'd always known he would. I'm fine, she heard herself say. I need a minute. She made it to the bathroom before the tears came. Made it into a stall before the sobs broke through. She pressed her hand against her mouth, trying to stay quiet, trying to hold herself together. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Congratulations on your pregnancy. Imagine what the press would pay for that story. The billionaire's secret pregnant assistant. Call me if you want to make a deal. Maria's blood turned to ice. Someone knew. Someone knew and was threatening her. She deleted the message with shaking hands and splashed cold water on her face. In the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Red-eyed, pale, terrified. She was going to lose everything. Her job. Her privacy. Her dignity. Unless she left first. Maria walked back to her desk, grabbed her resignation letter, and marched toward Corey's office. She'd leave it on his desk and walk out of this building forever. Start over somewhere new, somewhere far from Charleston, somewhere Corey Brown and his engagement and his empire couldn't touch her. But when she opened his office door, he was there. Standing at his desk, still in his coat from New York, looking at his phone with an expression she couldn't read. He looked up when she entered. "Maria, you're supposed to be in New York. I canceled the meetings. I needed to." He saw the paper in her hand. "What's that?" "My resignation." The color drained from his face. "No. Yes." She set it on his desk. "Effective immediately. I'll have my office cleared by noon." "Maria, don't do this. We need to talk about your engagement." The words came out bitter. "Congratulations, by the way. I saw the article. You and Vanessa make a beautiful couple." It's not what you think." "Really? Because it looks like you made your choice. You chose your company over," her voice broke, "over us. Over our family. There is no engagement." She laughed, but it came out broken. "The article is planted by my board, by Vanessa's father. They want to force my hand, pressure me into a merger marriage. But I haven't agreed to anything yet. Maria, I got a text today. Someone threatening to go to the press about my pregnancy. About us." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Someone knows, Corey. And they're going to destroy me with it." His expression turned murderous. "Who?" "I don't know. An unknown number." "Let me see your phone." "Why? What are you going to do? You can't fix this. You can't. I can protect you." "I don't want your protection." The words came out louder than she intended. She stopped, tears streaming down her face. "I wanted you to want this. To want us. To want our babies. But you don't, and that's fine, that's your choice. But I can't stay here and watch you marry someone else while I'm carrying your children." "I'm not marrying Vanessa. But you will. Eventually. Because that's what men like you do. You marry the right kind of woman, the one who comes with the right connections and the right last name, and you keep women like me as your, what? Your secret. Your mistake." "Stop." He was in front of her suddenly, his hands on her shoulders. "You are not a mistake. Those babies are not a mistake. And I am not marrying anyone but you." Maria's breath caught. "What?" "I love you. I want those babies. I want the life we could have together. And I'm sorry. God, Maria, I'm so sorry for how I reacted when you told me. I was shocked and scared, and I said things I didn't mean. But I never stopped wanting you." "Then why did you leave?" "Because I'm an idiot. Because I panicked. Because the last time someone depended on me," his voice cracked. "My mom died in childbirth. With my little sister. I was 10, and I watched my father fall apart, and I swore I'd never put myself in that position. Never care so much that losing someone could destroy me." Maria's anger crumbled. "Corey, but then you walked into my life, and you made me feel things I'd spent 20 years avoiding. And when you told me you were pregnant, all I could think about was what if something happens to you? What if I lose you? What if I'm not strong enough to? Hey." She cupped his face, making him look at her. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm healthy. The babies are healthy. And you're not going to lose me. You were about to quit. Because I thought you didn't want us. I want you so much it terrifies me." He pressed his forehead against hers. "Marry me." Her heart stopped. "What?" "Marry me. Not because of the babies, not because of some board merger, but because I can't imagine my life without you. Because you're it for me, Maria. You're everything. You're insane. We've barely been together. We haven't even. I've loved you for a year. Since the day you started working for me and reorganized my entire filing system and told me my coffee order was mediocre at best. Since you stayed late to help me with the Henderson acquisition and fell asleep on my couch with marker on your face from passing out on your notes. Since you made me laugh during a board meeting and I realized I'd been waiting my whole life to meet someone who saw me as more than my last name. Corey, say yes, please. Say yes and let me spend the rest of my life proving I choose you. Every time. Over my company, over my board, over every expectation and obligation. I choose you. Maria looked into his eyes and saw the truth there. The love. The fear. The desperate hope. The article about your engagement, I'll have it retracted by noon. I'll hold a press conference. I'll tell the world you're the woman I love and these babies are the best thing that's ever happened to me. Your board will lose their minds. Let them. Vanessa's father can take his merger and shove it. He kissed her softly. I don't need Kilpatrick Industries. I need you. What about whoever sent me that text? Whoever knows about the pregnancy? His expression hardened. We'll find them. And we'll make sure they understand that coming after you means coming after me. And I protect what's mine. I'm not property. No. He smiled. You're my entire heart. But the threat stands. Maria felt the last of her resistance crumble. This is crazy. Probably. We'll be a scandal. Definitely. Your board might revolt. I'm counting on it. She laughed through her tears. You're serious about this? Dead serious. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Maria's breath caught. How long have you been carrying that? 3 weeks. Since the night you told me about the babies. I bought it the next morning. He opened the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. I've been trying to work up the courage to ask you every day since. But I kept chickening out, kept thinking you deserved better than a proposal driven by pregnancy and panic. And now I realize you deserve the truth. Which is that I want to marry you because I love you. The babies are a miracle, a gift, a blessing I never saw coming. But even if you weren't pregnant, I'd be on my knee right now, begging you to be my wife. You're not on your knee. He immediately dropped to one knee. Maria Daniels, will you marry me? Will you let me wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep with you every night? Will you let me be there when our babies are born and watch you become an incredible mother? Will you build a life with me that's messy and complicated and probably scandalous but completely, perfectly ours? Tears streamed down her face. Yes. Yes. Yes, you impossible man. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring onto her finger and pulled her down into a kiss that tasted like salt and joy and promise. When they finally broke apart, they were both crying. We're going to have to tell everyone, Maria said, laughing through her tears. Right now. This minute. He pulled out his phone. Corey, wait. But he was already dialing. Amanda? Set up a press conference for this afternoon. Yes. I know we don't have anything scheduled. Make it happen. Title it, The Future of Brown Global. And call legal. I want the Kilpatrick merger deal terminated immediately. He hung up and grinned at Maria. Too fast. Way too fast. But also perfect. You know the press is going to tear us apart, right? They'll call you a gold digger, say you trapped me with a pregnancy. Let them. Maria straightened her shoulders. I know the truth. You know the truth. Our children will know the truth. That's all that matters. God, I love you. He kissed her again. But we should probably tell people we're engaged before we announce it to the world. Simone is going to die. Your friend? The one who threatened to castrate me if I hurt you. That's the one. Corey laughed. She's terrifying. I love her. Maria's phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. Saw the engagement article. Want to reconsider my offer? Your story's worth a lot more now. Corey read it over her shoulder, his expression going cold. Forward that to me. Right now. What are you going to do? Make sure whoever this is understands that threatening you was the last mistake they'll ever make. He made another call. Carter, I need your team on something. Someone's blackmailing my fiancé. Yes, fiancé. I'll explain later. I need a full trace on a phone number within the hour. He rattled off the digits, then hung up. Who's Carter? Head of my security team. Former FBI. If anyone can find out who's behind these texts, it's him. Maria felt a chill. This is really happening. Someone's actually trying to destroy us. And they're going to fail. Because I didn't build $1 billion company by backing down from threats. He pulled her close. You and our babies are my priority now. Everything else, the company, the board, my reputation, it all comes second. I need you to believe that. I do. Even when it gets hard. When the press turns vicious and people you thought were friends start questioning your motives and my board tries to force me out. Even then. She touched his face. But Corey, are you sure? Really sure? Because once we do this, there's no taking it back. Your life will never be the same. Good. I don't want it to be the same. He covered her hand with his. I spent 36 years building walls, keeping people at a distance, convinced that success meant sacrificing everything else. And I was miserable. Successful, but miserable. Then you showed up and dismantled every defense I had, and for the first time in my life, I understood what I'd been missing. What? Someone to build something with. Not just a company or a legacy, but a life. A real life, with someone who sees me, not my money or my name, but me. The guy who can't cook to save his life and watches terrible action movies and gets anxious before board meetings even though I've done hundreds of them. Maria smiled. The guy who sings off-key in the shower and has a secret stash of gummy bears in his desk drawer. How did you? I've been your assistant for a year. I know everything. Yeah. He grinned. What else do you know? That you check your phone every morning at exactly 6:47 because that's when you wake up. That you tap your pen 3 times before making any major decision. That you have nightmares about your mom sometimes, and you don't sleep well for days afterward. His smile faded. You noticed that? I notice everything about you, Maria. His voice went rough. How did I get so lucky? We both got lucky. She kissed him softly. Now come on. We have a press conference to plan and a world to scandalize. The conference room at Brown Global was packed with reporters, cameras, and flashing lights. Maria stood backstage, her hand unconsciously resting on her stomach, watching Corey through a gap in the curtain as he fielded questions about the alleged Kilpatrick engagement. Mr. Brown, can you confirm the reports that you're engaged to Vanessa Kilpatrick? Corey's expression was unreadable. I called this press conference to clarify my personal situation and the future direction of Brown Global. The reports you're referring to are completely false. I am not engaged to Vanessa Kilpatrick, and I have no intention of pursuing a merger marriage with Kilpatrick Industries. The room erupted. Questions flew from every direction. Then what's your relationship with Miss Kilpatrick? Purely professional. Her father sits on our board, nothing more. But the article said, the article was planted without my knowledge or consent in an attempt to manipulate me into a business arrangement I have no interest in. His voice hardened. Let me be clear, I will not be pressured into any relationship, business or personal, that doesn't align with my values and my vision for this company. So if not Vanessa Kilpatrick, then who? Corey smiled, and it transformed his entire face. Actually, that's why I called you all here today. There is someone who's been by my side for the past year, who helped me navigate some of the most challenging business decisions of my career, who saw me at my worst and somehow decided to love me anyway. He gestured to the wings. Maria? Can you come out here? Maria's heart hammered. This was it. No going back. Simone, who'd rushed over as soon as Maria called, squeezed her hand. Go get your man, sis. Maria stepped into the lights. The cameras went insane. This is Maria Daniels, Corey said, pulling her close. My executive assistant. My best friend. The love of my life. And as of this morning, my fiancé. The room exploded with questions, shouts, flashing cameras. But Corey just smiled down at Maria, and in that moment, nothing else existed. Mr. Brown. Is this a conflict of interest? Is it true she's pregnant? How long have you been together? What will your board say? Corey held up a hand. One at a time. Yes, Maria was my assistant. Past tense. As of today, she's taking a position as Chief Strategy Officer, a role she's more than qualified for and has essentially been doing unofficially for months. No conflict of interest. As for the rest, our relationship is recent but serious. We're planning a small, private wedding as soon as possible. And the pregnancy rumors. Maria felt Corey's arm tighten around her waist. They'd discussed this, they could deny it, by themselves time. But Maria was tired of hiding. Yes, she said clearly. I'm pregnant. With twins. And before anyone asks, yes, they're his. And yes, we're both thrilled. The room went nuclear. How far along are you? Did the pregnancy prompt the engagement? Mr. Brown, what about succession planning? What will this mean for Brown Global? Corey's laugh was genuine. What will it mean? It means I'm going to be a father. It means I'm marrying the woman I love. It means that for the first time in my life, I'm prioritizing my personal happiness alongside my professional success. And honestly, it means Brown Global is going to benefit from having a leader who understands that business isn't everything. Family is. Your board won't see it that way. Then my board is welcome to call an emergency meeting and express their concerns. But let me be clear, I'm not asking permission to live my life. I'm informing you all of my decision. Maria and I are getting married. We're having twins. And anyone who has a problem with that is free to take it up with me directly. A reporter in the front row stood. Miss Daniels, what do you say to accusations that you got pregnant intentionally to trap a billionaire? Maria felt rage flood her system, but Corey beat her to it. That question is insulting, sexist, and completely out of line. Maria Daniels is one of the most intelligent, capable, ethical people I've ever met. She didn't trap anyone. If anything, I've been pursuing her since the day we met. Next question. But another reporter jumped in. Mr. Brown, your father built this company on traditional values and family legacy. What would he say about you marrying your assistant and having children out of wedlock? The room went silent. Maria felt Corey go rigid beside her. She squeezed his hand, a silent reminder that she was there. My father, Corey said quietly, died when I was 25. He never got to see Brown Global become what it is today. But I like to think he'd be proud of me for choosing love over obligation, for building a family with someone who challenges me and supports me and makes me want to be better. My father loved my mother deeply, completely. He never recovered from losing her. And I think he'd understand why I'm not willing to settle for anything less than that kind of love. He looked down at Maria. Why I found it. And why I'm never letting it go. Maria's eyes filled with tears. We're done here, Corey announced. Thank you all for coming. He guided Maria off stage as the reporters shouted final questions. The moment they were backstage and away from the cameras, Maria threw her arms around him. That was terrifying, reckless, career suicide. I was going to say perfect. She kissed him. You were perfect. I just destroyed my professional reputation and probably tanked my company's stock. But you chose us. Every time. He cupped her face. I meant what I said up there. You and these babies are my priority now. Everything else is just noise. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and winced. You're bored. 3 emergency meeting requests, 4 resignation threats, and 6 very angry voicemails. He silenced his phone. They'll wait. Right now, I need to take my fiancée home and make sure she's okay. I'm more than okay. Maria smiled. Her phone buzzed. The unknown number again. That was a beautiful press conference. But you might want to check your email. I sent you a gift. Maria's stomach dropped. She opened her email app with shaking hands. The subject line read, "Proof." Inside were photos. Of her and Corey. Intimate photos from that first night together, 6 weeks ago. Taken through the window of Corey's penthouse. Explicit. Undeniable. Devastating. The message below read, "These go public tomorrow unless you wire $5 million to this account. You have 24 hours." Maria's vision went dark around the edges. Maria. Corey's voice sounded far away. What is it? She handed him the phone. She watched his face go from concern to rage in 3 seconds. That's it. His voice was deadly calm. Whoever this is just made the biggest mistake of their life. Corey, those photos are going to stay private. I promise you. He made a call. Carter. Conference room. Now. And bring your entire team. Someone just declared war, and I'm about to end them. He hung up and pulled Maria close. Look at me. This is not your fault. This is not going to ruin us. Do you understand? Whoever's behind this picked the wrong target. But if those photos won't see the light of day, I will burn down heaven and earth before I let someone violate you like this. Trust me. Can you trust me? Maria looked into his eyes and saw the absolute conviction there. The protective fury. The love. I trust you. Good. Because we're about to show whoever this is exactly what happens when they come after my family. What would you do if someone tried to blackmail you with intimate photos? Have you ever had to fight to protect someone you love? Drop your thoughts below, and stay tuned because this story is about to get intense. The security center at Brown Global looked like something out of a spy movie. Walls of monitors, computer terminals, 3 people typing frantically while Carter, a 40-something man with sharp eyes and an ex-military bearing, coordinated the operation. Talk to me, Corey demanded, his arm around Maria's shoulders. The photos were taken 6 weeks ago from the building across from your penthouse, Carter reported. Long-range lens, professional quality. Whoever took them has been sitting on them, waiting for the right moment to strike. Can you trace them? Working on it. The emails are bouncing through several VPNs, but my team is good. We'll find them. How long? Could be hours. Could be days. We don't have days. They gave us 24 hours. Then we'll find them in 24 hours. Carter's expression was grim. But Mr. Brown, you need to prepare for the possibility that these photos might leak anyway. Whoever this is knows what they're doing. They might have fail-safes in place. Maria felt sick. So what do? We beat them to it, Corey said suddenly. We release the photos ourselves. On our own terms. What? Maria stared at him. Corey, no. Those photos they're private. Intimate. I can't. Not the explicit ones. He turned to Carter. Can your team edit the photos? Remove the explicit content, but keep enough context to show that Maria and I were in a relationship. You want to release sanitized versions before they can release the originals. Exactly. We control the narrative. We release them with a statement that yes, Maria and I have been together for 6 weeks, yes, our relationship includes intimacy, we're engaged adults, and that someone violated our privacy by taking these photos without consent. That could work, Carter said slowly. Flip the script. Make this about the invasion of privacy rather than the content. But it also confirms the photos exist, Maria pointed out. Won't that just make the originals worthless? Corey finished. If we've already acknowledged our physical relationship and released edited versions ourselves, the blackmailer loses their leverage. The story becomes about the crime they committed, not our private life. Maria's mind raced. It was risky. Exposing themselves first, taking control of a narrative that could still destroy them. But it was better than waiting helplessly for the blackmailer to act. "Okay," she said finally. "Let's do it. You're sure?" Corey searched her face. "Once those photos are out there, even edited versions, I'm sure." She straightened her shoulders. "We're not letting someone terrorize us with our own love story." Carter nodded. "I'll get my team on it. We can have edited versions ready in 2 hours. Do it. And Carter, double your efforts to find whoever took these. When we do, I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." "With pleasure." The edited photos were tasteful, showing Maria and Corey embracing, kissing, but nothing explicit. They could have been any couple in love. Which, Maria supposed, was the point. The statement Corey's PR team drafted was simple and direct. "Earlier today, we announced our engagement and pregnancy. Tonight, we're addressing an attempt to blackmail us with private photographs taken without our knowledge or consent from outside my residence. These photos show Maria and me in an intimate relationship, a relationship we're proud of and have now made public. We're releasing edited versions of these images to demonstrate that we have nothing to hide, while also making clear that the original photographer committed a serious crime by invading our privacy. We've contacted authorities and will pursue full legal action." "Ready?" Corey asked, his hand over the send button. Maria took a deep breath. "Ready." He pressed send. Within minutes, the internet exploded. But this time, the narrative was different. Instead of shock and scandal, there was outrage, at the invasion of privacy, at the blackmail attempt, at someone trying to destroy a couple for profit. #privacy for Corey started trending. #protect Maria followed. Even some of the harshest critics of their relationship pivoted to defending them against the blackmailer. "It's working," Carter reported, scanning social media feeds. "Public opinion is swinging in your favor." Corey's phone rang. Unknown number, he put it on speaker. "Mr. Brown." The voice was digitally distorted. "That was clever. But it doesn't change anything. I still have the originals. I can still release them." "Be my guest," Corey said calmly. "You'll only prove my point about the invasion of privacy. And more importantly, you'll give law enforcement additional evidence to track you down. Because we're not paying you a dime. You'll regret this." "I doubt it. But you definitely will. Because here's what's going to happen. My security team is currently tracing this call. My lawyers are preparing a lawsuit that will bankrupt you and land you in prison. And when we find you, and we will find you, you're going to wish you'd never pointed a camera at my window." The line went dead. Maria's heart pounded. "Do you think they'll actually release the originals?" "Honestly, I don't know. But if they do, we'll deal with it together." He pulled her close. "How are you feeling? The babies?" "We're okay." She touched her stomach. "Stressed, but okay. This is not how I pictured our engagement day going." Maria laughed despite everything. "Really? You didn't picture blackmail, press conferences, and edited intimate photos?" "Shockingly, no." He kissed her forehead. "I pictured taking you to dinner. Maybe the beach. Definitely ending with us in bed celebrating. We can still do that last part. After the day you've had? You need rest." "What I need," Maria said firmly, "is to be with you. To remember why we're fighting this hard. To feel like we're more than just a scandal and a target." His eyes darkened. "Maria, take me home, Corey." He didn't argue. They didn't talk about the blackmail or the press or any of it. They just held each other, finding comfort in touch and closeness and the reminder that despite everything, they had this. Afterward, Maria lay with her head on Corey's chest, listening to his heartbeat, feeling more settled than she had in days. "I never thought I'd have this," Corey said quietly into the darkness. "A family. Someone to come home to. Children. Why not? Because I was so focused on building the company, on living up to my father's legacy, that I convinced myself I didn't need anything else. That success was enough. Was it? No. He stroked her hair. I was lonely, Maria. Rich and successful and completely alone. And I told myself that was the price of achievement, that caring about people made you weak, that love was a liability. What changed? You did. You walked into my office with your color-coded files and your terrible jokes and your complete lack of intimidation by my reputation, and you made me laugh. Really laugh. And I thought, oh no. This woman is dangerous. Maria smiled against his chest. Dangerous how? Because you made me want things I'd sworn off. Made me wonder if maybe I'd been wrong about the whole solitary success thing. Made me imagine what it would be like to have a partner. Not just in business, but in life. And now I can't imagine life without you. His hand moved to her still flat stomach. Without them. You three are my whole world now. Maria's eyes filled with tears. They're lucky to have you as a father. I hope so. I'm terrified I'll screw it up. You won't. How can you be so sure? Because you're already thinking about what kind of father you want to be. Already worried about getting it right. That's what good parents do. They care. They try. They love with everything they have. She kissed his chest. These babies are going to be so loved, Corey. By both of us. 2 babies. Wonder crept into his voice. I'm still processing that. Twins. I know. It's insane. It's perfect. He shifted so he could see her face. Everything about this is perfect. Chaotic and scandalous and probably going to give my board collective heart attacks, but perfect. Maria laughed. What are we going to do about your board? Fire half of them, probably. The ones who can't get on board with my choices are free to find other investments. Corey, I mean it. I spent years letting other people's expectations dictate my life. No more. This is my company, my life, my family. And if they can't respect that, they can leave. You might lose millions. I'd lose billions before I'd lose you. That's the pregnancy hormones talking. No. He cupped her face. That's me finally understanding what my father knew. That nothing, not money, not power, not success, matters if you don't have someone to share it with. Someone who sees you as more than your achievements. Someone who loves you for you. Maria's phone buzzed on the nightstand. They both froze. It's Carter, Maria said, checking the screen. He says to call him immediately. Corey grabbed his phone and dialed. Talk to me. Carter's voice crackled through the speaker. We found them. Who is it? You're not going to like this. Carter. Who is it? A pause. Vanessa Kilpatrick. The room went absolutely silent. What? Maria breathed. We traced the photos, the emails, everything back to Vanessa Kilpatrick. She hired a private investigator 6 weeks ago to follow you, Mr. Brown. He took the photos. She's been sitting on them, waiting for the right moment to use them. Why? Corey's voice was deadly quiet. Because you were supposed to marry her. Because her father promised her you would, and she was supposed to be the next Mrs. Brown, and when she saw the engagement announcement with Maria, she snapped. Decided if she couldn't have you, she'd destroy your reputation and hers. Maria felt like she'd been punched. She did all this because what? Out of jealousy. Worse. Out of entitlement. In her mind, you belonged to her. The engagement was just supposed to be announced. And Maria ruined everything. That's insane, Maria whispered. That's privilege, Carter corrected. She's never been told no. Never had to fight for anything. And when she didn't get what she wanted, she decided to burn it all down. Corey's expression was murderous. Where is she now? FBI picked her up 20 minutes ago. She's being charged with extortion, invasion of privacy, and about 6 other crimes. Her lawyer's already trying to make a deal, but given the evidence and her family's wealth, they're not likely to show leniency. Good. Corey's voice could have frozen nitrogen. I want her prosecuted to the fullest extent. I want her name dragged through every court, every paper, every outlet that covered our engagement. I want everyone to know what she did. Corey. Maria touched his arm. No. He turned to her. She tried to destroy you. To terrorize you while you're pregnant with my children. She doesn't get mercy. I'm not saying give her mercy. I'm saying don't let her turn you into someone you're not. Someone vengeful and cruel. That's what she wants, to hurt us, to change us, to make us as twisted as she is. His jaw worked. She violated our privacy. Our intimacy. She could have released those photos to the world, humiliated you, destroyed your reputation. But she didn't. Because we were smarter. We acted first. We protected ourselves. Maria moved closer. She's already facing criminal charges. She's already losing everything. Let that be enough. It's not enough. Then what would be? What would make this right? He was silent for a long moment. Finally, quietly, nothing. Nothing would make this right. Because what she tried to take from us, our privacy, our dignity, our peace, can't be given back. No. But we can choose not to let her poison our future. We can choose to move forward without carrying this rage around. She took his hand, placed it on her stomach. For them. Let's choose peace for them. Corey closed his eyes. When he opened them again, some of the fury had faded. You're right. He pulled her close. You're always right. I'm really not. But I'm right about this. Carter, Corey said into the phone. Make sure the FBI has everything they need. I'll cooperate fully with the investigation and prosecution. But beyond that, I'm done. I'm moving on. Understood, sir. And Mr. Brown? For what it's worth, I think you're making the right call. Don't let her win by turning you bitter. After Carter hung up, Corey and Maria sat in silence, processing everything. It's over, Maria said finally. Really over. Yeah. She's going to jail. She is. Your board is probably going to explode when they find out a board member's daughter tried to blackmail you. They definitely will. We're going to be headlines for weeks. Months, probably. Are you ready for that? For everything that comes next. Corey turned to face her fully. With you. I'm ready for anything. Even screaming twins at 3 a.m. Even that. Even the PTA meetings and soccer games and school plays. Especially those. Even the part where your immaculate penthouse gets taken over by baby gear and spit up and chaos. He grinned. Bring it on. Maria laughed, feeling lighter than she had in days. You have no idea what you're signing up for. Neither do you. But we'll figure it out together. He kissed her softly. One day at a time. One crisis at a time. One beautiful, chaotic, scandalous moment at a time. I love you. I love you too. Both. He paused, his hand spreading wider on her stomach. All 4 of you. 4. You, me, and the twins. We're a family now. Tears spilled down Maria's cheeks. Yeah. We are. They fell asleep tangled together, finally at peace, while across the city, Vanessa Kilpatrick sat in a holding cell and learned that some things, some people, were never hers to claim. The boardroom at Brown Global was packed. Every single board member had shown up for this emergency meeting, and the tension was thick enough to cut. Corey stood at the head of the table, Maria beside him. She was there as Chief Strategy Officer now, officially no longer his assistant, and wearing the title like armor. Let's get started, Corey said calmly. I know you all have questions. Questions. James Kilpatrick stood, his face purple with rage. My daughter is in jail because of you. Because of your assistant. Your daughter is in jail because she committed multiple felonies, Corey corrected coldly. Including attempting to extort me and invade my privacy. Maria had nothing to do with your daughter's choices. If you'd just done what you were supposed to, married her, merged our companies, none of this would have happened. You're right. None of it would have happened. I'd be married to someone I don't love, trapped in a life I don't want, and miserable. So thank you, James, for that alternative. This is unacceptable. I'm calling for a vote of no confidence. We need a CEO who puts this company first. By all means. Corey sat down, utterly relaxed. Call the vote. Shocked silence. You, what? James sputtered. Call the vote. Right now. Anyone who wants me out as CEO, raise your hand. James's hand shot up. 2 other board members, his allies, followed reluctantly. The rest of the board stayed still. That's 3 votes out of 15, Maria said calmly, checking her notes. Motion fails. This is ridiculous, James shouted. He's marrying his assistant, having illegitimate children, running this company into the ground with scandal. Actually, one of the other board members, Patricia Chen, a 60-year-old venture capitalist, spoke up. Stock is up 12% since the engagement announcement. Apparently, the public loves a good love story more than a corporate merger. Another member nodded. And the coverage from the Blackmail case is positioning Brown Global as a victim of corporate espionage. We're getting sympathy buys from investors who want to support Corey against the Kilpatricks. Plus, added another, the move to promote Maria to CSO was brilliant. Her analysis on the Westbrook case saved this company millions. She's an asset, not a liability. James looked around the table in disbelief. You're all insane. This company is built on tradition, on family values. Despite or because of? Maybe both. She kissed him softly. We're getting married in 2 weeks. Small ceremony, just family and close friends, like we planned. Actually, Maria bit her lip. I've been thinking. Uh-oh. What if we did it bigger? Not huge, but, I don't know. Public. Let people see that we're not ashamed, that this love is real, that we're proud of what we built together. You want a big wedding. I want a wedding that celebrates us. That shows the world we're not hiding anymore, not apologizing for falling in love in a way that didn't fit their expectations. Corey smiled. You want to make a statement. Maybe. Is that terrible? It's perfect. You're perfect. He pulled her closer. Let's do it. Big wedding. Every outlet in the country covering it. You in a dress that'll make me forget how to breathe, me probably crying during the vows. Definitely crying during the vows. And everyone watching as we tell them all to go to hell, we're doing this our way. Maria laughed. That's not exactly the vibe I was going for. No. What vibe were you going for? Love. Just love. The real kind. The messy kind. The kind that doesn't need permission or approval, that just is. I can work with that. He kissed her forehead. I love you, Maria Daniels. Soon to be Maria Brown. Actually, she pulled back to look at him. I'm keeping Daniels. His eyebrows rose. Yeah. You don't mind. Why would I mind? You've built your reputation as Maria Daniels. Why should you have to give that up just because you're marrying me? Some men would have strong opinions about that. I'm not some men. I'm the guy who fell in love with a woman strong enough to tell me when I'm wrong, smart enough to run circles around most of my board, and brave enough to choose love even when it would have been easier to walk away. He cupped her face. You keep your name. You keep everything that makes you you. That's what I'm marrying. All of you, exactly as you are. What did I do to deserve you? Spilled coffee on my favorite suit, reorganized my entire filing system without asking, and then systematically dismantled every wall I'd built around my heart. So really, this is all your fault. She laughed, and he kissed her, and the sun set over Charleston while the future stretched out before them like an unwritten story, one they'd write together, one day and one choice and one moment of love at a time. Oh, what do you think is going to happen? Will Maria and Corey's big public wedding go smoothly, or will there be one more surprise waiting for them? What would you do if you were planning a wedding while pregnant with twins and dealing with media scrutiny? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And if you've made it this far, you absolute legend, thank you for staying with us. Hit that subscribe button because the final 4 parts of this story are going to be everything. See you in the next one.